Talking points.
Talking points. Talking points.
Talking points.
Talking points.
Talking points.
Talking points.
Talking points.
Talking points. Talking points.
Talking points.
This is Talking Points, the panel discussion program for Western Maine, devoted to topics drawn from stories which have appeared in Today River Valley, the video news feature program of the Androscoggin River Valley. I'm Phil Blampede, the producer of the program. We're coming to you from Bistro 151 in the Sudbury Inn on Main Street in Bethel, Maine. Let's meet our panelists. Lori Gilbert is the founder, editor, and publisher of Bethel Living, a magazine with in-depth articles about people, places, and events in the greater Bethel area and the western Maine mountains. Lori owns and operates Royal River Graphics in Bethel, where she creates websites and promotional and marketing materials for businesses throughout New England. Find out more at royalrivergraphics.com. Steve White, retired after 38 years operating Sunday River Inn and Cross Country Ski Center with his wife Peggy, served 34 years as a selectman in the town of Newry and 23 years as a commissioner on the Maine Land Use Regulation Commission. Steve now serves on the boards of many local, statewide, and regional nonprofit organizations, working in areas including youth, wellness, conservation, recreation, education, forest health, and community resilience. As for me, Phil Blampede, I launched the video feature show Today River Valley 4 years ago. It started on the internet and eventually got region-wide placement on WPME TV. My idea was to take the kind of community journalism found in local newspapers and translate it into a video program. Not only can you find the program on WPME TV, you can also watch it at any time at todayrivervalley.com. Production assistant for the program is Miles Sullivan. In this edition, the panel will be looking at why there aren't more women running for local public offices. In September, Today River Valley reported that even though the populations of men and women are about the same in western Maine, the overwhelming majority of local elected officials are men. The panel will look at whether this is a problem and whether local government might be better with more women. Finally, the panel will look at a rumor that almost spoiled the 4th of July in Rumford, Maine. As reported in the September Today River Valley, the town's rumor mill lit up with a totally false warning of a possible terrorist attack at the fireworks show. The panel will ask, should the organizers have canceled the show? All that in a few minutes.
Talking Points is sponsored by the Sudbury Inn. Lodging, fine dining, and a lively pub in an historic inn, right on Main Street in Bethel, Maine.
Make the Sudbury Inn your headquarters for your next trip to Bethel. Centrally located downtown, this charming 19th century inn is right in the middle of shopping, skiing, fine dining, and all other Bethel attractions. Accommodations range from a full apartment with its own fireplace to deluxe two-room suites to single rooms. And you don't have to go far to find the best of Bethel, from fine dining in the main dining room to pub fare and live music in the popular Suds Pub to a bistro menu and bar in Bistro 151, featuring light fare with a creative flair. Chicken roulade, boneless breast of chicken stuffed with goat cheese, prosciutto, and asparagus served on a bed of spinach in a sauce poulet. Salmon and sorrel sauce, a classic French dish served in cream sauce flavored with sorrel. Blackened sea bass with a cucumber salsa, citrus glazed veal short ribs with an Asian sauce. The Sudbury Inn is family friendly, can accommodate pets, and as the magazine Bon Appetit put it, is the perfect way to end a day in Bethel. Call today for more information.
In the September edition of Today River Valley, we take a look at select boards and committees around the area, and we found that only about a fifth of the positions, particularly elected positions, are held by women. Do you think there would be a benefit to the communities if more women ran for office? And Lori says yes. Why, Lori?
I believe that women offer a different perspective. I think that they're compassionate and their life experiences can bring a lot to the situation.
And Phil?
Well, I say no, not that women can't necessarily contribute, but just assuming that just because they're women, they're going to be a better participant in local government is a kind of a stereotype. And I don't think you can automatically assume that just getting more women into government will guarantee a better result.
Okay, well, let's talk about that.
When it comes to local government in western Maine, the question is, where are the women? In Oxford County, the census says that women comprise more than half the population, yet adding up all the select board members throughout the county, there are 94 men and only 26 women. In the cities of Lewiston and Auburn, women make up nearly 52% of the population, yet on the city councils there are 11 men and only 4 women. 50 years after the modern feminist movement developed, something is keeping women from full and equal participation in the governance of their own communities, certainly in western Maine, if not elsewhere as well.
The question before us now is would local boards and committees be better served if more women would stand for office?
Well, that if you say yes, that putting more women into government automatically would increase the quality of local government. That implies that there's some universal characteristic among all women that would be beneficial. If you start saying if you start stereotyping and say all women have these beneficial qualities, you can at some point turn that upside down and say all women have negative qualities. They're all bad drivers. We all know that, right? So, but they're great when they do a great job on the select board. But you don't want to get behind them, you know.
No.
So when you get into stereotyping, you run the risk. I mean, you can stereotype to the good, you can stereotype to the bad, and I'm not sure you can just say, guarantee if we put women in the government, that'll be great.
All right. Well, Lori's got another take on that.
Yeah. I think that in some ways you can say that women in general can often be open-minded and less competitive, I think, than men. There's a testosterone factor sometimes in a board of men. I think that adding women to the mix definitely evens the playing field, brings on some different perspective that otherwise wouldn't be there.
So you're saying that not necessarily throw the men out and put in women, but that we ought to have a more even mix.
I think so. But I think, Phil, you shared some perspective of the women in Hartford. There's an all-female select board in Hartford, and I think, had you attended one of their meetings?
Yes.
And tell me what your observations were, because I was touched by what you shared.
Well, they were they had quite a crowd there. Most in the crowd were men. And many of the people in the audience had opinions and things they wanted to share. And the select board was very attentive. They let people speak. They listened respectfully, even when it was clear that they didn't necessarily agree with the suggestions that were being made. And when the speakers were through, they very often gave them a little pat on the back for having made the effort to attend and to speak, saying things like, we really appreciate the way you think out of the box like that. That always adds a lot to our discussions. And, the word is validate. When you talk to somebody and they act like they don't want to hear what you're saying, it makes you feel bad. But if somebody says to you, well, that's really interesting, thank you for sharing that with me, that validates you and it makes you feel good. And they seem to use that tactic in dealing with the public quite a lot.
Do you think that's a female trait? That verification, that acknowledgement?
I've seen men operate a meeting and do the same thing, but I think it is a female trait that should be picked up
We're nurturers.
by everybody.
Yeah, I think oftentimes we are mothers or we're helpers. We're the nurturers. I think we bring some calm to the situation often, and I've been at meetings where I've seen men just not take the time to listen, and if they're not interested, they're shutting it down immediately.
Well, Lee Holman refers to the fact that it's an interesting segment in that story where she says that the previous board, when she first got involved in town government, there was an all-male board, and the way she put it was something, I would have to say that listening was not their strong suit. And apparently that board, whoever they are, if they're watching this show, I'm sorry to bring you up like this, but apparently the only way stuff got done was citizens would always have to create petitions and come in with petitions, and then the board would be forced to act on things. But the one thing about, for sure, if just in terms of equity, if you have half the population female, and yet only a fifth of the officials in the area are female, there's an obvious lack of representation. And I don't know whether I'm stereotyping to say that women need other women to represent them. It might be sort of stereotyping a little bit, but I think it's true. I mean, there certainly are women's issues.
I think you'll see this change in time. I think in southern Maine, it's more of a level playing field. I think there's more women involved in politics down in southern Maine, and I think we're just a little bit behind the curve. You know, we didn't start wearing our bell bottoms until 7 years after everybody else here.
What? You mean these are out of style? Oh no.
That kind of thing. And I think it does take some women to encourage other women to get involved, and I think that women should not get involved for power reasons. I don't think that they should get involved just to get involved. I think they need to be passionate about what boards they're on, what topics they're interested in, and what things they want to fight for their communities.
And I think that's what we see happening around us here. We have a very small number of women on the boards in the local area, but they're there because they know they can make a difference.
Well, why do you think more women don't run?
I think it wasn't the women's place back in the 50s and 60s. And, you know, as I said, I think we're a little bit behind the times here, but we're catching up all the time.
Are there potential downsides to, if you had government bodies that were 80 or 90% women, would there be a potential downside to that?
I think a balance is a good thing. I mean, I have been in situations where I was the lone male, and the way that things were decided was different. I didn't understand what the chemistry was, you know. So I think half and half is best.
Yeah, I think almost anything works. As in the example of the all-female select board in Hartford, that seems to be working just fine.
Now, Lori, you were on a board in southern Maine, or if you want to call that southern central coastal Maine, whatever that is there. East Central West Coastal Maine, and you experienced one of the reasons why some women might be afraid in terms of the level of hostility that you encountered.
I was harassed. Yeah, this had to do with a coastal decision bringing in 2 ferries to our harbor, and we really only needed one. But we, in order to allow one to get started, we needed to figure out, you know, a lot of safety regulations, a lot of how their waste would be taken care of, and so we couldn't just make a quick decision. It took a few months and several meetings, and I did have one angry person calling and yelling at me and hanging up in the middle of the night at my home, and it was a little disturbing, but it certainly didn't stop me.
Well, that might be a reason why women don't run, because that's sort of par for the course if you're in that position. If you're making decisions and somebody doesn't like the position, you're probably going to get phone calls. And if you don't, you know, if it bothers you, it's not a good place to be. I took care of that when I was a selectman by having my wife answer the phone, but she didn't like that at all.
Talking Points. We'll be right back.
Fresh local food is always the best, and there isn't much better for fresh local food than the vegetables, fruits, meats, baked goods, and more that you'll find at Cooper Farms. Located at 27 Bethel Road in West Paris, Maine, Cooper Farms offers local farm produce, their own apples when in season, their own farm-raised beef, plus baked goods made on site. Cooper Farms is easy to find right on Route 26, halfway between Norway and Bethel in western Maine.
Hi, this is Sue at Cooper Farms, Route 26, West Paris. You can taste the real Maine here. We grow our own fresh vegetables. We have a variety of our own baked goods as well as jam and pickles made on site. Even the beef and pork is our own. We are open all year. Come on in. Fall harvest is the best time to come see us.
Cooper Farms, open year-round. Stop by soon, and don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Picture the name and logo of your business or organization on an attractive polo shirt, windbreaker, cap, or t-shirt. Then come by Perfect Stitch on Route 26 in South Paris, where you can turn that vision into a reality. Perfect Stitch is the place to go in Western Maine for embroidery, screen printing, and promotional items. With full-scale production right on site, Perfect Stitch can fill any order from a single shirt to dozens of them. Offering advertising and promotional items as well, Perfect Stitch is the one-stop shop for all your promotional needs.
I'm Amy Plord. I own and operate Perfect Stitch Embroidery. Come on in and see the wide variety of products we offer at our showroom at 191 Park Street in South Paris. We can help you figure out what products would fit your needs best. Hope to see you soon.
The cold weather is coming, but what better way to warm up than with the great selection of caldera spas and therasaunas from Coulthard's on the River Road in Mexico. This holiday season, treat yourself to a spa with the Caldera. Since 1976, Caldera has been among the most trusted names in spas and has earned a reputation for delivering the utmost in comfort, performance, and style. Call now for delivery by Christmas. Come take a look at our newly arrived spas, including the 3-person Kauai and the 7-person Selena. Or consider the reasonably priced tubs by Nordic. Whatever your price range, we have a tub for you. Of course, the perfect complement to that spa is your own sauna. Coulthard's carries Therasaunas, an American-made brand with soothing infrared heat. There's nothing like a sauna for improving skin tone, reducing cellulite, and just plain relaxing. Coulthard's, 31 years in business on the River Road in Mexico, Maine.
At Dan's Automotive, you'll find reliable used cars priced from $3,000 up. You'll get more car for less money. These are brands that are known for their reliability and long life, and each is mechanically updated, even including new timing belts when needed. Cars come with state inspection and 14-day plates. Come browse the lot at 625 Crescent Avenue in Rumford and grab your car before somebody else does.
We bought our car at Dan's, and we're glad we did.
Dan's Automotive Repair and Sales, 625 Crescent Avenue, Rumford, Maine, 369-9302.
Talking Points is sponsored by the Sudbury Inn. Lodging, fine dining and a lively pub in an historic inn, right on Main Street in Bethel, Maine.
In the September edition of Today River Valley, there's a story about the great fairs and festivals and events that took place over the summer. But unfortunately, one of these events was marred by a rumor. This was the Rumford fireworks, and the rumor was that there was a possibility of, as unlikely as it sounds, a terrorist attack. Nothing happened. The rumor was totally groundless. But in the light of such a rumor being floated, should the organizers have canceled the event? What do you think, folks? Why no, Steve?
The case seems to have been 3 guys who were buying pizza, and they happened to be black, and somebody decided since they were buying 4 pizzas there was a problem. I think that we would bring about a lot of bad publicity for the town if the town had canceled because of that.
Well, why do you say yes, Lori?
Because just the circumstances in the media lately, all of the terrorist situations, it's saddening to watch the evening news, and I guess I feel we can't be too careful.
All right, let's talk about it. What does this say about the state of mind in the public these days that something is as bizarrely unrelated to anything as 3 dark-skinned people buying 4 pizzas would trigger a rumor of this kind and scare hundreds of people?
I think we're in a mild state of alert right now. There's so many things going on all over the globe, all over the world. Unfortunate attacks. Some are terrorists, some are not, but usually that's the first suspicion. And just listen to your news every evening at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and it seems as though week after week after week there are new unfortunate terrorist attacks. It's a shame that this rumor was started to get folks excited. I know myself, if I had been present at the fireworks in Rumford and I heard that rumor and I had my children with me, I think we would have gone home.
Wow.
Now, as an older, my children are gone. I'm a little more footloose and fancy free. I would have probably stayed, but if I had my children, I would have gone home.
Well, the thing is that by the time it got validated, because the police were talking about it, it took on some more strength than it would have if it had been diffused right away.
Well, I think there's people have trouble gauging the level of risk. In general, they do. And if something is presented to you in a certain way, you may overestimate how much danger you're in. For instance, people are scared to death to fly, but the chance of being injured in a passenger airplane is insignificant. Chance of being injured in your passenger car is significant, yet we're not at all afraid to get in our cars and drive around. So our perception is that planes are dangerous and cars are safe, and that's inversely, that's the opposite of the truth. And this terrorist thing is, people are personalizing it. They think that ISIS is going to come to Rumford and stage an attack. Now, the darn thing about it is that there may be one mentally ill guy who was born in Pakistan who's driving down Route 2, and he'll get out at the information center and start shooting people, and everybody says, "Phil, you see, you were wrong."
Or he might have been born in Mexico.
Yeah, but there's also...
Maine.
That's right. But there's also a chance that a volcano will erupt in the middle of Rumford, you know. I mean, the odds are probably not too dissimilar. And then everybody say, "Why? You were saying there were no volcanoes around here. What's wrong with you?" But the people have exaggerated the level of risk, and they don't understand the character of what's going on. When I worked at the Kittery Trading Post about 15 years ago, and they'll be embarrassed to hear that this is being made public that I was there. But I was there right after 9/11, and the week after 9/11, they sold out of ammunition and guns. Because people thought, some people hijacked an airplane and flew it into a skyscraper, which was terrible. But how does that correlate to conventional warfare, that you're suddenly going to have an army marching across the landscape, that you're going to have to get your shotgun out and defend your home from the Islamic hordes that are coming across the landscape? It's like a complete disconnect. People thought, made completely wrong assumptions about the character of the threat and the level of the threat, and I think that's true here too.
It's in our living room every evening. We've got the media just bombarding us with all of this bad news, so it's very real. You get done with the hard day's work, you go home, sit down in front of the TV, and I shed a tear. I shed a tear weekly. It's frightening. I think we're in a different place right now than we were certainly a couple of years ago, as far as all this terrorism, and really feel highly sensitized about it right now.
Well, you can make the argument that Americans are wussies in that regard, because when the IRA was conducting a bombing campaign in England, the English, adopted a stiff upper lip approach and lived through it. It was 5 years, 6 years. I had a friend who was in the London Underground and got blown off his feet because a bomb exploded 30 feet away from him. And in Israel lives under a constant threat of this kind of a thing, yet the Israelis aren't, there is no Israeli, pardon my political interjection here, but there's no Israeli Donald Trump. They conduct business as usual, and this is a part of their life. They deal with it. They rise to the occasion. They're adults about it, and they don't, they're not subject to being panicked.
So we should just toughen up.
Well, I think the business about being part of life is maybe the key to it. People get used to things. I was taking a group of middle school kids to Northern Ireland while the troubles were still winding down, but they were still there. And we were going to Newry, Northern Ireland, and the morning that we were gathering the kids and their parents together to make the final plans, a hotel was blown up in Newry, Northern Ireland. So
wow.
I got on the phone and I said to my counterpart over there, "So, what do you think? And should we worry?" And she says, "No, Steve, it was a one-off. If it was anything bad, I would have told you." It's like, things happen, don't worry about it.
My point exactly.
Yeah.
Talking points.
Bill never liked food very much.
I never liked food very much.
Then one day, he happened to go into Connie's place on Congress Street in Rumford just to ask the time of day. Before he knew it, the aroma of great cooking overcame his better judgment, and he was sitting down with the menu in his hand.
This looks good.
He said, looking at the corned beef on rye.
That looks good.
He said, looking at the fish and chips.
This is even better.
He said, looking at the mouth-watering nachos. Then the food came, and Bill had a revelation.
I do like food.
Connie's place. You all like the food. Even Bill does.
Here's news from Scott's Recreation, a newly expanded inventory of RVs from entry-level travel trailers to high-end fifth wheels. Now featuring end-of-season pricing. Get a deal on a new RV while there's still a lot of camping left. Scott's Recreation, with locations on Route 4 in Turner, Maine and Route 202 in Manchester, Maine.
Excuse me, sir, are you getting a little shaggy around the ears but can't find time for a haircut? Well, now you can. At Lisa's Barbershop at 178 Main Street in Mexico, owner Lisa Shardlow specializes in quick haircuts. No appointment is necessary and there's rarely a wait. At Lisa's, the motto is cut and go.
Fall is in the air and Halloween isn't too far away. I get all kinds of customers this time of year, but even if you look like the Wolfman himself, let's just say I have the experience to give you a great cut. Come on by.
Open Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturday, 9 to noon. Mountain Valley Variety at Four Corners in Rumford, known as the happiest corner in town, is twice as happy with a new expansion that has more than doubled its size. If there's a cold beverage, you'll find it here with 20 cooler doors and the coldest and largest beer cave in Maine.
Hi, I'm Rick from Mountain Valley Variety in Rumford. I want to welcome you to my brand new beer cave. We have over 500 items in all. Whatever you want, we either have or we can get.
Head to Mountain Valley Variety for grab-and-go pizza, sandwiches, lobster rolls, hot foods. Don't forget the hand-cut steaks if you're grilling out tonight.
Come on down to Mountain Valley Variety and see us all.
Hi, my name is Roger Whitehouse, owner and designated broker of Riverside Realty located at 152 River Road in Mexico, Maine. We have an incredible amount of listings. Inventory is high, interest rates are low. Just take a look at a couple of these listings.
Here's MLS 1264184, a beautiful country garrison on a great dead-end road location on nearly an acre in a quiet neighborhood in the Virginia section of Rumford. It has 4 bedrooms with a large open kitchen and dining, lots of sunlight, 2.5 baths, lots of closets, a partially finished basement, and a family room. The living room has a wood-burning fireplace. There's baseboard hot water heat as well as a rice coal direct vent stove, a 2-car garage with overhead storage, a central vacuum system, a storage shed, and a deck. This property is very well maintained, listed at $229,000.
My staff of 6 has over a combined work history of over 100 years. We're here to serve you. Whether you're considering buying or selling real estate, call Riverside Realty at 369-0100. Hope to see you soon.
Looking for a convenient and inexpensive place to stay in Western Maine? Visit the Paris Inn Motel, located conveniently on Route 26 in South Paris, a short drive from the Oxford Casino and the attractions of the Bethel area. Newly renovated rooms, open year-round. If your shoes don't feel right or your feet hurt, don't ignore the warning signs. Visit Pine Tree Orthopedic Lab in Livermore Falls, the leading provider of corrective shoes and accessories in Maine. Foot problems can lead to pain in the knee, hip, and back. At Pine Tree Orthopedic Lab, we design footwear to relieve pain or discomfort from disease, overuse, or congenital conditions. In our retail showroom, there are 4 certified pet orthotists who provide your initial foot exam at no charge. All manufacturing of your custom footwear, orthotics, and braces is done on site.
Hi, I'm Bruce McDonald, president of Pine Tree Orthopedic Lab, and I'd like to invite you to come to the most unique shoe store in Maine, where we are the foot comfort specialists.
Don't ignore that discomfort. Pine Tree Orthopedic Lab, open Monday through Friday 8 to 5, Saturday 8 to 2.
Talking Points is sponsored by the Sudbury Inn. Lodging, fine dining and a lively pub in an historic inn, right on Main Street in Bethel, Maine.
Well, that's it for the October 2016 edition of Talking Points. This is Phil Blampede, the host and producer. For myself, for panelists Lori Gilbert and Steve White, and technical assistant Miles Sullivan, here's wishing you colorful foliage, crisp nights, and sunny days. And we'll see you in November.